two neo-Nazi groups headquartered right here in Metro Detroit.
So Action News investigator Heather Catallo questioned one pro-white leader and shows us how hate groups are on the rise. Heather?
The American Nazi Party and the National Socialist Movement are both right here in our own backyard. And local civil rights leaders say it's important that everyone be aware that these hate groups are in this community.
The National Socialist Movement is the largest neo-Nazi group in the United States. They proudly display swastikas in their rallies and marches. And the NSM lists its headquarters as a P.O. box inside this post office right here in Detroit.
The National Socialist Movement is the front lines in this struggle against illegal immigration.
Its leader, 40-year-old Jeff Scoop, lives in East Point. Scoop, who goes by the title Commander, leads about 55 chapters of the NSM.
It's not hate or racism to speak of on pro-white terms.
Do you approve of race mixing?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
Race mixing, in my mind, is the destruction of all cultures.
They are vehemently against any non-white having any kind of power, any access to government.
Anti-Defamation League Regional Director Heidi Budai says Nazi-like hate speech can be dangerous.
It is wrong on every level. There are actually very few steps between embracing that ideology, acting on that ideology, turning to violence with that ideology. It can actually, in the end, lead to genocide.
Back in 2005, the National Socialist Movement clashed with demonstrators in Toledo, Ohio, inciting riots. Experts say neo-Nazi groups like NSM often believe in many of the ideas that Adolf Hitler spread through Europe in the 1930s and 40s, including the claim that Jews are a subhuman race and the Aryan race must stay separate.
Are you an anti-Semite?
Define anti-Semite.
Do you dislike Jewish people?
I believe in the national self-determination of all peoples, that all people have the right to exist and they have the right to their own homelands.
The NSM may be the biggest neo-Nazi group in Michigan, but it's not the only one. The American Nazi Party is also headquartered here, right in the all-American city of Westland. Calling themselves a political education association, the ANP is led by Rocky Suheda. Despite our visits, phone calls, and emails, Suheda would not discuss the American Nazi Party. While many disagree with his views, Suheda seems to live a quiet life in Westland. Neither the police department nor the mayor knew he was there.
It's despicable that we have this sort of views going on, but they're certainly protected by the First Amendment.
Eastern Michigan University professor Jack Kay once infiltrated the Aryan nations.
I'm most fearful of is get into this leaderless resistance lone wolf mentality where they teach individuals to go out and do something.
Researchers at the Southern Poverty Law Center say hate groups across the country are on the rise. In 2000, they counted 600 groups. In 2012, that number had grown to 1,007. Michigan has 25 known hate groups, and experts say our state has a long history with the extreme right. During the 1920s, Detroit had more than 60,000 members of the Ku Klux Klan.
If you're a white separatist, why are you living in Detroit?
Detroit is just the city I chose to live in.
But the real reason that these modern-day Nazi groups are based in Michigan may have more to do with the leaders' personal lives than local race relations. Experts say the NSM is headquartered here because Jeff Scoop moved here from Minnesota to marry a Michigan woman several years ago, but that's something he refused to comment on. I'm also told Rocky Suheda just happens to be from here, so the ANP is based out of his Westland home.
Wow. So, Heather, first, have these groups been on the rise since President Obama took office, and how many members do they really have?
Absolutely. They are on the rise, but really when you look at the membership, the ANP is very small and that's dwindling. The other group has about a couple hundred members, so not that many, but again, civil rights groups say it's important to talk about these things so you can combat the intolerance.